Hi, Long Beach Unified students. Happy T-shirt Tuesday. Today I'm going with we belong to each other because I believe we do. And that makes me think about what we do that shows a sense of belonging to one another. That happens in the way that we greet each other. It happens in the way that we speak to one another, the openness that we show to one another in terms of accepting differences and accepting how we are, the way we give attention to people, and just the general respect and kind treatment of one another. Those are all things that we do that show belonging. And then I was thinking about examples of times when we either feel like we belong or feel like we don't belong. And I was thinking about this idea of being invited to some sort of a gathering or party. And you can probably all relate to this in some way, but you're invited to a gathering, you're excited to go, you want to be there, and you get there and you realize that you feel like you don't belong in that space. And you either feel that way because of who you see around you, or you feel that way because you recognize that you're different than other people that are there, or you feel that way because you haven't been brought into the space of what's happening at that gathering. One of the challenges that I think is in front of all of us is how we can observe people when they feel like they don't belong, and how we might include them or encourage their belonging, or even think about what might help them to belong in our space prior to their arrival there. How do we plan for all of our students and all of our staff and our community members to belong? And so I was thinking about the words on this t-shirt and thinking that they came in part from a quote from Mother Teresa, who was an icon in the world of peace and belonging. And one of the things that she said is that if we have no peace, it's because we've forgotten that we belong to each other. I think the events of last week showed how very much we have, as a country, forgotten that we belong to one another. We observed an attack on our democracy last week. And in observing that, it reflects the absolute opposite of belonging to one another. And I know, like a lot of you, that's caused me to ask the question, where do we go from here? There are a lot of complicated answers to that question of where we go, but I think there are some simple answers that can happen today as well. One is just the recognition of suffering and hurt that many, many people in our community are feeling right now. Another is that connection to empathy and knowing that the feelings that people have right now are real. They are historic in many ways. They are part of their lived experience, and that they are very, very deep. And even if you find yourself not understanding what all of those feelings might be, having the empathy to know that those feelings are there, they're important, and they're deep matters. Listening to one another, how can we really listen for learning about what is said? Not listening to respond, but really hearing the words that are being spoken by people right now. And then just creating some of those basic connections. And this isn't easy to do today. It just happens from really looking at your neighbor or looking at a stranger in the face and saying a genuine hello. Those are things that we do to show belonging, to show a connection to our community. We belong to each other, and our community is only as strong as the sense of belonging that we show to one another. We do that through letting people be heard, through encouraging people to be seen, through showing value and that we care about one another, through treating people well, and through really, really working to understand. A sense of belonging is created in a healthy, healthy community. And I look forward to Long Beach continuing to be a community that works toward belonging and continuing to be a community that works toward returning one another to our sense of belonging. I'll be thinking about you. I look forward to being with you next week. Have a good day.